Go.
Hey everyone, I want to welcome you guys to our episode 19 on the Mainpod. Yay! Also, we have very special guests today. We have what I like to call, i.e., famous brothers, the Merlos brothers. Well, there's three of them, and we got two of them in today. So we got George here and Diego. So welcome to the podcast, guys. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So this is Julian, who's our guy on the tech here, our ones and twos.
Yep.
Welcome, Julian.
What's up, y'all?
Also, he's one of my hostess from the Mostest.
That's right.
So I want to start off, if I may, with tell us just a little intro about you guys. I'll kind of start off with kicking it off. Let's go with Diego. What do you do? I know you do credit repair. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So my name is Diego Merlos, and I run MBM Credit Solutions. Okay. So we've been primarily helping people improve their credit for purchases of homes, and but anybody that is in relation to credit, finance, banking, things like that, we focus on education first and foremost, on things that people can implement themselves to kind of help their financial situation. Mm-hmm. And then we also, do the general removal of negative information or make the attempt to. Been doing that close to, I'm going to be 36, 19 years.
Oh, you're my age. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get into it?
Well, I was originally going to learn how to do loans. Oh. So at 17, my, let's say, mentor was going to be this gentleman over here. And there was just somebody in the office who had worked in collections, and, him being as busy as he was, it was a little hard for him to kind of teach me things hands-on. So it was more focusing on like the smaller things at first, right? So like learning how to do 1003 apps, talking with realtors. And then we ended up finding out that there are things that you can do to turn someone who wasn't ready at that time to be a potential homeowner. So he had me read the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and then I just took it from there. Took experience that I learned as a personal banker and a business specialist, combined that with the removal of negative information, and there's MBM Credit Solutions.
Ah, the man with the plan over here. Let's get you going on the action plan. That way we can shoot it over to our boy here, George, who does. What do? You do loans.
What do I do? I dance on TikTok. That's the only thing I do.
He does, guys. If you guys don't know, he is a little sunset over here, dancing on TikTok. I mean, that's why I said you guys are a little famous with all your reviews.
Yeah, I mean, obviously what I do for a living is I do finance. I've been a mortgage banker, loan officer, mortgage planner. I don't know, however many titles they want to give us as loan officers for the last 22 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's what I do for a living. But there's other things that we do on the side. We have our own clothing line. We have our podcast. We do a lot of charitable work. But, if someone were to ask me what I do for a living, it's finance, real estate finance. I'm a loan officer.
Nice.
You're an entrepreneur.
Oh, he totally is.
Yeah, kind of. You could say that.
Totally is. So you're going back to your, I'm sorry, I totally drew a blank, but Southpaw is what you guys call yourselves, right? Southpaw Boys?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, got my Southpaw.
Got the Southpaw
right here,
belt
belt
buckle.
And he's got one of the hoodies he designed on there. So for me, I came up with this when social media started, and it's a mixture. Like the simplest way to explain it is Morrissey and Rocky. So growing up, we watched Rocky movies, all the Rocky movies, and Rocky's a southpaw, right? So right foot forward. So put your right foot forward in life.
I like that.
And Morrissey has an album. It's Southpaw Grammar, and there is a song called Billy Budd. And so I was trying to find a way to combine my love of Morrissey and Rocky, and then have something behind it. So it's Southpaw Bill. So I'm Southpaw Bill, and then when we added my brothers to it, it's Southpaw Boys. So,
it's a family duo.
Yeah, it's a family duo, and
Three
keep
of us.
swinging. And
Yeah, it's a
Exactly.
trio.
It's a trio.
Trio, there you go.
Mhm.
Trio.
Yeah, trio.
So all of us design different pieces of clothing, like whatever we want to wear. We design it, we rock it, and if people want to purchase it, they can. Um, and yeah, that's at the end of the day.
Where would they go to get that?
They would go to Southpaw Bill, southpawbill.com.
Nice. Let me see your hoodie there that you designed. Did you design that yourself, or what did that?
Yeah. I mean, I
Nice.
didn't do any of the drawings, so I can't paint, I can't draw. I'm really good at.
Can
stick
you dance like
figures.
George?
I have more upper body movement. I dance a lot with my elbows and upper body. I don't
I've
have the
seen it.
fancy footwork that everybody else in my family does, but I got a mean two-step.
Oh, I got a mean
Yeah.
two-step.
But no, I can't draw, so I just take pictures or images.
Ideas.
Yeah, and then I just create whatever it is I'm trying to put on a shirt. Or
So
a
who
sweater.
puts that together for you guys? Is it the three of you guys like collab on it before it goes out to merch, or like?
I mean, I'll send it to him and be like, look what I made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then I'll
it's-
tell him like, hey, take this off, or this look better in this color. And the same thing, like vice versa, right?
Nice.
Or like if someone asks us, like we rarely design for people, but we did have a friend who said like, hey, I want this for my son, for my toddler, which was a Kobe. So the ideas were Kobe and Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I had to put that together and design it around a T-shirt that would fit his toddler. And then I was able to recreate it so that he could rock it. And you know, it's a passion project at the end of the day. It's just art, like for us, like the shirts that we want to wear, but no one's designed,
Right.
right? So we'll have something like with the Doors, for example, or something like with Elvis mixed with like Cholo stuff, you know, like just different things that like I would want to buy, but I don't see it out there. Then
Right.
I'm gonna design it, and then we're gonna rock it.
I like
Mhm.
that. So you guys are entrepreneurs in different areas. I like that, and are very artistic. So I want to go back into a little bit backtracking into the business side of things. Do you guys collab and work together? I'm assuming very, very closely. You doing credits, passing clients back to you to do the loans. Is that something you as brothers work well? Like, do you guys ever get little like biggers? Like, you know what? I don't want to work with you. Have you ever had any issues like that?
I mean, when we were younger, I think that's essentially why I didn't continue on the road to be a loan officer.
Like, he's not gonna boss me around.
Yeah, I think he asked me to make him coffee one day or something like that. But I started that was again close to 20 years ago. So
Right.
different maturity and different mindset. And now it's not an issue at all. I mean, we're the in-house credit specialist for a few different companies, and we work with different lenders and agents. But yeah, definitely they, as Integrity Home Finance, they do use us in order to help out their clients. So no professional or personal issues when it comes to business.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's one of the things. Sometimes people say like, "Man, you guys are like really close,
Right.
like your family, your brothers." We don't fight, like we don't argue.
That's awesome.
Very, very.
Did you guys fight when you guys were growing up, like younger?
I mean,
No, my other brother and I had more of a traditional brother relationship, play fighting, and more again like that. And then with him, he was just like the older brother.
Yeah. What's
Right.
the age gap between you guys?
4 years
Isn't
between
that crazy?
us.
For a long time, I always thought George was like the middle, not
Yeah.
the oldest one.
Yeah, we're each 2 years apart.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the thing. Like growing up, Mike would pick on him,
Yeah.
right? And they would fight, and I would try to get them to stop. Like, dude, stop! Don't fight. I remember. I'll tell a story. One time, I got in a fight with Mike because of him. And my dad came home and he's like, "Oh, you guys are gonna fight? All right, cool. Well, let me show you what brothers do." So he, people are gonna think it's weird,
I
but
don't think my parents like this story, so pick another one.
I'll say it.
Why don't
It's
you just-
right, you already
why don't you just
started
tell the story beforehand?
Let's
I
hear
don't know what the story was beforehand. All I know the part that I was traumatized with, which my dad made me lick salt off my brother's back. He's like, "This is your brother." We were like 7 or 9, something like that. And my dad was just adamant about showing us, "Your brothers, you're not going to do this. You're not going to fight. You're not going to argue." And my mom was the type that said, for there to be an argument, there needs to be two people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, step out of the equation. I'm going to sit you down. You guys are going to talk about it. Or even if we got in trouble, like, our parents would reprimand us. My mom was always the figure that wanted us to talk things out.
Yeah.
My
Right.
dad was the belt and you're going to get spanked. And
school.
so 100% old school. And so I think we grew up with that. We grew up with not fighting, not arguing, kind of respecting each other's opinions. As an older brother, yes, I do harp on him. I do harp on the other one, and I do get on their case. But whether it's business or our personal lives, we respect each other, allow each other to do what we need to do, and it's worked. It's worked very well.
So I like that dynamic duo that you guys all have together. Do you have siblings you fight
Well,
with?
no, I mean, my brother was 10 years older than me, so he was just in a different place at the time. I mean, he'd still pick on me here and there, and just do the big brother thing, but we never like fought or did anything like that. My daughters now, 14 and 17, they argue like cats and dogs, like I'm like, what? It's your sister, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
one day you guys will be best friends, but whatever you're doing now, it's not okay, but don't do anything that you're going to regret.
I know. It's like me. My siblings are older. I have my sister who's 20 years older from my mom's first marriage, and my brother who's 18. And same thing, I didn't grow up with basically an only kid, if you will, and I didn't have no one to fight with other than my cousins or my nieces, and that was it. But being 2 years apart, each one of you guys, you usually hear, brothers fight and wrestle and whatnot, and you guys had a different,
We'd
Well-
share each other's clothes.
So Miguel and I had that dynamic.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna
like-
take off my jacket.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
It's
I'm-
warm
I'm
in
a
here.
little-
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like play fighting.
Take it off, George.
Yeah.
Take it off.
So he and I had more of that dynamic of brothers roughhousing.
Yes.
Right? But neither he nor Miguel ever picked on me. Right? It was just we'd be roughhousing and then I'd try to get a little rough and then my brother's a lot bigger than I am. So he would then get rough and then it got a little like I had to run to him.
Protect me.
And then
I
he'd be
messed
like,
up.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Miguel would always tell me like, I told you to stop. And I'd be like, whoops. And I would run, right? And in that situation, I remember it clearly. I had already gone to his room like once. He was in his room, Miguel and I are in the yard. And then he was just like, fucking stop. We didn't,
No.
right? And then I just remember like running inside. And he was like, Miguel, stop. He's like, nah. And then he ended up having to punch Miguel in the stomach.
Oh, I remember that.
Dang.
And again,
And I felt so bad.
he cried.
I was like, because I hurt my little brother.
Yeah.
So I'm
No.
sitting there in the yard, Miguel's on the floor gasping for air, crying, and he's in his room crying because he hit his little brother. And I'm just like, oh. And then, I mean, was it my fault? Could you blame me? No.
100%
Can
Zero's
we just
fault.
paint the
Yeah.
picture though, so Julian knows how Miguel is like WWE freaking size. He's bigger
Yeah.
than them too.
Mm.
He is.
Yeah.
So you have to like, I can visualize it because I know his size
Mhm.
compared to you guys.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
can only imagine George
Yeah.
reprimanding, and like doing what he's gonna do as a big brother. That's why for the longest time, I think for me, I always thought Miguel because of his size was older.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
so.
And it's
Bro, that
funny,
means
like,
you look good for your age. So
That's a
high
good
five to
thing.
you.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good thing.
and it's funny because they were the ones who got in trouble. And then my parents, they had gone to a meeting and they had specifically told us because we had been fucking around too much. And like, if you guys fuck
They
around,
just mess around too much as kids, man. They were kids, and I always like I don't know.
You have a little bit of an older soul.
100%.
Yeah.
Like they say that I was doing.
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
What is it that I was doing
Yeah.
taxes when you guys were out?
He audited my parents.
Dang, you audited your parents.
He's like little Sheldon.
Yeah, man. I just
George wouldn't, and this is true. George wouldn't wear shorts when he was little
to this day I
because-
don't wear shorts
because he's like, that's for little kids.
That's
He
for
would-
little-
so he would always wear long pants.
I'm a man.
I'm a
All
man.
of the
My
cousins, we'd
pants.
be out hanging out, doing what kids do, play fighting, playing sports, tag, whatever. He'd be inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always had that personality, so yeah, it's even till now.
Damn,
Yeah.
I'm just seeing you as a young man. You're like, I'm a grown ass man with pants, and then you're auditing your parents. How are you gonna audit your parents?
He didn't. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That's from
Can you?
uh,
Dang.
the other guys.
That's
what
love.
Will Ferrell does.
Yeah, it was just different.
Yeah.
I've had kids from middle school tell me that. They said, yeah, like even in middle school, you would kind of engage,
Mhm.
but you would always take a step back and like you were observing us. Like you would let the kids be kids. You weren't judgmental about it. I was always part of the popular crowd and stuff, but I just, I like my peace. I like my quiet. Like even till now, like at charity events or any event that we go to,
Right.
you'll
You're very
find
off to the
me
side, yeah.
off to the side in the corner,
That's
just
true.
you know.
And it's funny that you kind of, I'm going to tie a little something that a conversation we had about children and learned behaviors and stuff like that when it comes to parenting. Is that something that you would say you learned from somebody that's been around you as a child, or was that just you kind of like naturally? Because I've seen your videos with, or both of you guys' videos with your parents. They're lively, they're that Sally fam, that's, about the life of the party, dancing, having a good time. But you're very reserved. Where's
Me?
that?
Me?
No,
Yeah,
you,
so-
Jorge.
You?
I don't know. You were gonna say something. So
Is that
I
is it a learned behavior?
I don't think it's a learned behavior. I just think it's my personality. Like
Okay.
I think I can turn it on easily. Obviously, it's part of what we do for a living,
Right.
right? To be charismatic and to be engaged. But I had a hard time with it, accepting it. I felt bad. I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my dad told me once, he goes, when I was a kid, I used to be a loner. I used to kind of be on my own. And so he told me that around maybe, I mean, I can't remember the age, maybe high school, maybe a little bit after. So it kind of allowed me to be okay with myself, needing my space, needing my quiet. But yeah, there would always be parties, and I would just, I can always engage, but I
Right.
have to disconnect that. So I don't think it's a learned behavior. I think it's just, it's who I
It's who you
am.
are.
It's who I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
disagree.
I feel like I'm the like at an event or something like that. I'm always observing.
You are.
I'm more apt to be on a one-on-one, like a little bit of a deeper conversation or something like that. But I feel like mine's maybe learned
Learned.
because like when I was a kid, like both my parents, my dad was a contractor, and my mom was in sales, and they're both outgoing people. Like they're gonna dance, they're gonna talk, and they've always tried to get me, like my mom or my dad dancing or whatever, dragging me out there, and I didn't want to dance, and like they're just dragging me out there. So to this day, like if I'm dancing, I am so uncomfortable because I don't like it. And then same with like my dad, like with girls and things, like we'd be driving in the work truck early in the morning going to get donuts, and there'd be a chick walking on the sidewalk, and he'd be like, grab my hand, and he'd go like this, and he'd go, look, and then he'd honk the horn, and he'd be like, Julian's here, and like making me wave to her and stuff like that. And then like I was just, obviously mortified. I was 7 years old or whatever, just kind of. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but when I think about it, that could be like a learned behavior on my side of things.
See,
I
my
was always
my
an extrovert. No, my mom would always tell me, you're going to get robbed. So I was going to take you. Because I would be saying hi to everybody. And I think for me, just because I grew up with adults around me, I would always gravitate, to my elders, or just, I was very social. I mean, even now I'm super social. But yeah, I mean, you said you disagree with his
I do.
behavior.
I do. Well, no, not necessarily that, but I do think it's learned because both
Yeah.
of my parents, even though I think they've loosened up a lot in later on in years, but my parents growing up, serious, reserved, like
Okay.
if you saw, ask any of my friends, anybody who came over, my dad looked like he was pissed every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Like my dad, he would like people would come in and he's like,
I
What's
see
up
him
with this?
very elegant, like very
Right.
lively.
and again, when we were growing up, it was
Right.
different, right? And like again, you see the videos of my mom or my dad, and again, you can say we're scandalosos, right?
No.
But
Like the
they're
way
not.
that we, but
I love
but
it.
in public and things like that, always very reserved, very serious, and they know how to joke. And again, it's in part what he says. They know how to turn it on.
they know how to turn
Right.
it on.
But us growing up as kids, like obviously kids today are a lot different than back then.
Right.
But we didn't fuck around when we were kids.
Did you get the
right.
speech in the car before you went to the grocery stores?
We didn't need the speech.
I did.
Duh, dude.
My
My
mom
d-
would give me a look, and I already knew.
And that was the thing. We knew how to be kids. My dad would let us have fun. We're at a party, things like that. But we were never loud. We were never disrespectful.
Mhm.
We wouldn't, my parents didn't let us run wild,
Mm-mm.
but they let us play. So I think it is a learned behavior of again, we know when to be serious, and there's certain parts of our personality, just as he does. I think all three of us like a little bit of solitude,
Mm.
right? Like he's always saying,
Mike always does that too. Michael, I'll catch him outside, and he'll just be like, I need to get out. I'm like, I no. I mean, obviously we do the same thing, right? So maybe it is learned behavior. Maybe, now that he's saying it. But my mom would do the same thing, like get out and dance. Or my dad would always say, take your mom out to dance. But my dad was always a very serious man. My dad's a very serious man. My mom is serious, but a little bit more loud. Like the example I would say, the thing in my mind is, we'd go to the beach, rarely, but my mom would go swimming with us. Like, come out, come out, come out. And she'd be like in the ocean trying to play with us. And my dad would be on the beach like, hey, come back, come back, come back. So that's like the different personalities. My mom's a serial entrepreneur and my dad's like a 9-to-5 guy. So we got a little bit of both, and I know that that's in me. The older I've gotten, the more of my dad I've become. More reserved, more quiet, more, I don't know, more him. So maybe it is learned, but in my mind, I thought it was just kind of natural, I guess. I don't
So
know.
subconsciously, like, you don't think about it until you start going through life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then even like how you said, today's generation and how we grew up, because we're the same age, so different, And that was a conversation we had on our last podcast about like parenting these days. Like, I know you guys don't have kids, just like I don't have kids.
Yet.
Is that something that
True.
like? I'm sorry, Jolene. Go ahead.
No.
No, he said yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They said yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something like you guys ever think about too? Because we went in depth with this last week. Kind of like it got me thinking all week. Like, I don't know if I could be a mom with today's generation. I'm afraid, like, of all the stuff that's being shown out there with the YouTubes and social media and all that
I
bullshit.
told you, homeschool. That's the
Homeschool,
way to go.
I know, yes. That's like where my mind's at now. Like, I don't know. Do you guys ever think about that with today's generation? And you guys, I mean, you as males, I want a male opinion. You have kids, so you homeschools, but like
I
you
didn't.
Single.
I wish if I could go do it over again, I would. But I think that the biggest thing that we talked a lot about a lot of things like in this specific thing, but specifically, like you hear a lot of people say that my parents were very strict, or they laid down the foundations, they did X, Y, and Z, and then a lot of people, because we give that ability to use that as a crutch for whatever messed up is in your life. Oh, my parents were so strict, so I don't want to do that to my kids. I want to let them, change and do whatever. But the reason why you're successful, you're doing the things you're doing, is because your parents are that way. And somehow you hold this grudge against what they did to you and made you a certain way when it made you who you are, right? So, but I think a lot of that also comes from those type of mindsets, and then society telling you that it's okay to use your childhood as whatever happened to you as why you're having problems, when it's not necessarily that, in my opinion.
I mean it's perspective on how you look at things. Like, and I think people have different perspectives in the same situation. His childhood was way different than mine,
Yeah.
even though it was the same childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, or in the same time, right?
Mhm.
Because my view of things was different, and his understanding as an older, 4 years older, was different than mine.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to parenting, I mean, I don't have kids, right? So, but I do look at certain things of if that's going to be a possibility for me, which we don't know. I would just prefer to educate my kids to be good people, right? Like that's it, right? And at schools, with everything that's going on right now and like society and all that other stuff, I don't think that they're the right people to do that, right? So maybe homeschooling would probably be the best option as far as academics and certain things on what they should know, which, a lot of people, it's kind of general what we all kind of should know, but then giving the ability, let's say, to an outside factor to kind of influence my kids' minds, I don't know if I'm good with that. So it's like,
Yeah, it's tough, because they spend so much time at school, and it's not even the people, like the teachers sometimes, but it's the other parents, and then the influences on their kids, and then those kids' influences on your kids. It's all around. It's hard. So I don't even know what the right answer is, but
because I don't think you want to shield them from the world and be like, no, like, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
yeah.
Not
So
sure.
like I was telling her, like if I could do it over, you'd homeschool, and then you'd still put them in every sports or extracurricular activity that you could find. and because those are important skills and things that are important for them, and they get to have friends and do all those kinds of things too.
And real world friends. That's the
part,
difference.
yeah.
So I don't have kids. And if I have a child, if I'm 60, well, then the young girl's going to raise him, right? I won't be around for it. But if I had kids, man, I think it'd be really difficult because sometimes I hear friends talk about their kids and
Right.
situations that they're going through, especially in school or society. And I'm like, damn, that's tough. Um, but I know how we were raised, and my dad recently, and I think many times he's apologized. He's tried to apologize to say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry I raised you guys so hard. I'm sorry that I spanked you guys or whatever, right?" And with tears in his eyes, like feeling like this guilt trip of not being able to be softer. And I've had to tell him numerous times, dude, I'm the way I am because of the way you were. I held no grudges, no resentment. Um, we were taught to enter a room and shake someone's hand, right? Look them in the eye, say good morning, say good evening, answer the phone a particular way. Like if we answered the phone the wrong way, we were getting hit. It was I did. Maybe he didn't.
Yeah, it's
Right.
different. Like you said, it was a different.
And so he came here when he was 1 to this country. I came here when I was 5. I remember seeing gunshots. I remember seeing tanks. I remember seeing police officers in El Salvador. I remember coming here not knowing the language. So he learned the language here easily, right? So I grew up with different things. Obviously, again, same household.
Right.
I got to know who my dad was maybe around like between 15 and 17. I got to know who my dad was as a man. And then I got to know his story. And then I got to know a lot of things that, like my parents experienced that maybe he didn't know yet. And so, yeah, I think having a child, there's always challenges. But I would go to the model of my parents. And the model of my parents is you're strict, but you also trust them, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think that, and this might be too personal, so just but like as a father, right? I'm there, and like when he came to you and said those things, when you're a dad or a parent and you're going through this life and you're dealing with your real world stuff, job, money, kids, activities like school, like everything that's going on, it's easy to not be present with your kids all the time. And then when they're doing things that you don't like or that you don't want to do, like, you said your dad was very, quiet and he was stern and like different things. And maybe all these things are going on in his head. So he's this way with you guys a certain way, but he's not fully present or spending the amount of time that he wish he could have spent to be a part of, like, more involved, more like a mom. Usually moms are more there in those moments. And now he's having those thoughts where not only was I hard, but I also wasn't as connected or present as I could have been throughout those years because of whatever else I was going through.
So, but I'm sorry, I didn't.
So
Do you feel like my dad, in addition to probably like discipline, felt like he probably wasn't there or as present as he could have been?
so like his because he was emotional when he was telling
Yeah.
you, it's like, hey, I'm sorry for how I rate, like how hard I was on you guys, but maybe some of that emotion's coming from that other aspect, not just how hard he was, but maybe some of the
Oh,
other
gotcha,
part of
gotcha,
it.
gotcha.
I kind of want to tie into that, if I may interject really quick. Do you also think coming from an immigrant, like coming from El Salvador here, to add to that, it was like tough love because I wanted to do better? You know?
The thing is, like like let's say like school. Our parents never got on our ass about school. It's like, did they?
No.
No. It's like you go to school, you do your work. It's expected of you,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
right? So we never got, hey, good job, you got an A, ever. And we tell that to my mom, like, dude, you never applauded us. And she's like, well, because it was expected.
Yeah. What
And I'm
else would you do?
What else would you do?
Yeah.
And she'll say, well, I'm sorry that I didn't recognize you guys. I'm like, no, that's what fuels me now, right? Like, it fuels me to just always do our best. Now, with my dad was super involved.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So
Okay.
I think my dad probably wishes he could have done certain things better as far as like the discipline side. Probably him not being able to understand certain things, right? Obviously, probably based on how he was raised,
Yeah.
right? Just not understanding. But we had that balance of my mom, right? But at the same time, like I don't think I can't speak for my dad. But I don't think he has any regrets of not being present
Yeah.
because he's
That's good.
been one of the most present fathers ever. Like,
Yeah.
if there's a way to describe my dad, it's like it's a dad. Coached me in soccer many years. Did
Nice.
not go to his games or Miguel's games. He would work multiple jobs, and I remember being a little kid and then going and play basketball at least 2 or 3 times a week after he'd be, working in a warehouse or whatever, and he'd take the 3 kids and then we'd go play basketball. And he would always do things with us. So I don't think he has any remorse or any regret as far as him being present because that we didn't get to experience that.
Yeah, he's exactly what Diego said. He'd get out of work, like, hey, you guys want to go to the park? And he'll take us to the park and play basketball. When my mom would go to work, we'd watch movies with him, and he would make us virgin micheladas. Right?
My dad doesn't drink, so he wouldn't even know what a michelada was. But it was just clamato with a
And he would
shit
sit
ton of
us-
lime, a salted rim, and we watch X-Files.
Yeah, and he'd sit
Nice.
us on the couch, and he didn't know how to cook, right? He
Doesn't
still
know.
doesn't know how to cook.
He's learning. He's tried a couple things.
He doesn't know how to make pupusas?
No,
Nah,
so
he
he
knows how
would
to eat
make
'em.
cup of noodles, and he would, I don't know why, but he would cut the cup of noodles for us, like, and he'd make them for us, and he'd get like a big gulp cup, and that's where he'd make the virgin micheladas, and we'd watch movies with him. So my dad's always been present. I think it's the factor of his strictness on certain things, like you can't dress like that. You can't, hang out with certain people. Like, and again, I got into a scene where it was very close to gangs. Like, it turned into gangs. And so I could hear my pops in the back of my head, like, this is what my dad was telling me about. Like, this is not good.
Yeah.
So, dude, for me, my dad is he's been an amazing man, amazing dad. My mom says it all the time. Like, he's the best father anybody could wish for. Not a good husband, but like,
And that's one of the things my mom's always been able to separate that and
Yeah.
explain that to us.
Right.
It's a good mom.
Like,
Yeah.
as your dad, fantastic. As a partner, there's issues, right? But dude, even as adults, and this is what I tell my parents, I'm like, don't get me wrong. I think all 3 of us appreciate how much you guys care and love about us. But it's like, you guys are a bit much. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, my dad, if he's at the office or he'll like come by or something like that, he'll come up and like have food for me. Like, my parents live with me, and one day I get home and my mom asked me, she's like, Diego, ¿verdad que no te tengo que cocinar? Like, I don't have to cook for you, right? And I was like, no. And then she looks at my dad, she's like, see? My dad still wants me to have food, or like, oh, he's been at work all day. Like, did he eat?
Yeah.
Or he'll
Tradition.
make stuff for me. He's very, very thoughtful. And I think we've picked up a lot of good characteristics and traits from my dad, right? Of like being thoughtful and being considerate of the people that we care about. So we've been able to, I think, again, if he has kids or if I have kids, we would use our parents as a North Star,
Yep.
as a reference point in what to do. Like, fucking help me.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows how to raise a kid, right?
Yeah.
But I think we have the best example, again, with their defects or with errors that we all have. It's just like, no, to me, probably the best way, or you'll show me the best way. That's one of the things that my parents were always able to do and inculcate in us. They wouldn't figure shit out for us, but they showed us how to figure out things ourselves. They always made sure that we were self-reliant,
Yeah.
right? So they could kind of like guide you or ask you questions, but it was just like, you got to figure it out on your own, right? So even if it were to like come to parenting, it's probably not a possibility that they would say, do this, and be like, well, what do you think you should do? And like, that's always been something that they've both been very good at, not giving us the answers, allowing us to find out things for ourselves, which has made us resilient,
Yeah.
right? And let's say the people and the men that we are today. So it's like, you know what you're doing, and then we would be able to use them as a reference point. And again, I think as a North Star
Yeah.
to navigate.
Man, we went deep.
I know.
Taking that the way they question you to come up with your own answers, right? So many times parents want to just give you the answers or do it for you, but you guys are technically in sales now, right? You're talking to clients, selling stuff, doing the credit repair and things like that. Do you find that having been talk about learned behaviors, just naturally? Because as a salesperson, it's very easy to just vomit, like tell them, oh, well, you need to do this because of X, Y, and Z, and we got to do this, and we can do this, and you're just dumping all your benefits on them rather than asking them questions, getting things drawn out for objections. Like like an objection comes up, you want to just overcome it immediately instead of diving deeper into whatever objection they have. Do you find yourself being naturally good at that?
Very, very. But it's also a trait that you have to work on. So we had a conversation this past weekend, and it's funny because my mom is that thing, right? Well, what do you think you should do, right? Type thing. And my dad also knows that he wants to say the same thing. He's like, I'm going to apologize, but I'm going to tell you what I think. And so he gave his opinion. So they still, have that even to this age. But one thing that helped me, and I passed on to him, and I'll pass on to anybody that's in sales, your clients, your women, your boyfriend, whatever relationship is you have, will tell you exactly what they want if you listen.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of us, when we hear people speak, we're looking for clues to immediately jump in with, a response, a solution. Or if they have an objection, it might not be an objection, right? You might think of it as an objection, but you got to let them speak. You got to be good at effective questioning, right? Through effective questioning, you'll get the answer. And that's something that I learned from Mike Barrios, which is my production partner. I've worked with Mike for 22 years in the lending industry. And Tom Hopkins. Right? Tom Hopkins has a book. I read it early on. I still reread it, and it's Act Like a Lamb, Sell Like a Lion. And so every single day you're selling yourself. You're selling yourself to your partner, to your friends. Everything a part of life is you selling yourself as a human being, as an individual. So in our business, again, I do finance, right? It's through questions that I'll be able to get the answers for the client. And so an objection, sometimes it's just not an objection. It's not a valid objection, right? Sometimes you can actually move past the objection, and then if you hear it again, then it's like, okay, then now it's something I can address. Otherwise, it's just something that they're throwing up, something up in the air of like, hey, do you need help? No, I'm just looking.
Yep.
Like,
And then 5 minutes later, they're
5 minutes
check
later,
out
like,
with
hey,
something.
like, I need help. So our parents have made it easier, especially my mom. My mom's been in sales and, an entrepreneur since I was a child. She's run multiple teams with hundreds of people. She got me in front of an audience, like one time in front of like all these massive people and said, like, speak. So my mom has put us in those positions to understand ourselves and understand that at the end of the day, the answers you're going to provide your client, you already have, but you got to hear what's their pain point. Like, what's the solution for them? If I'm talking about rate and I'm trying to sell you rate, but that's not part of, let's say, what's important to you, or about schools, well, what do you care about schools if you have no kids? What am I selling you on the fact that this is like the best API in the area? What do you care, right? Or this house has a pool, like,
You don't even know how to swim.
exactly. So you gotta get good at listening.
Yeah.
And same thing in personal relationships, like with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend. You gotta listen.
Yeah, it's part of an effective communication workshop that my mom actually does and has implemented in the nonprofit that she has. But it's, in order to effectively communicate, you have to learn how to listen, right? And when it comes to sales, you have to ask the right questions. And those questions, a lot of the times, people don't know what they're looking for.
Mhm.
And I remember one of the things that he told me when I was working to be a personal banker and a business specialist. It's like, you're the professional. People don't know what they need. So it's your job to uncover that, right? And one of the things that my mom taught me in high school when I was slinging Mary Kay to be able to buy a phone, right, was sell the benefit, not the product. It was one of the things that she would always tell me.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing where a lot of the times people think that they have objections or people may have a problem. So we need to understand what that problem is so that we can provide an MBM credit solution. But it's asking those questions, I think, is the best way for you to be able to serve your customer or your client or the person that you're listening to, just having a regular conversation. If you're talking to your friend about a breakup, like the way that you can serve them is by listening to them and then asking questions, not so you can interject and, oh, this happened to me, or make a comparison or what you would do or give advice. It's like, how do I help you figure it out for yourself?
Mhm.
So let me rephrase that question. Or so when you say this, like it makes you feel this way. And then you're just bouncing more and more questions off and you're allowing that person to be heard and then them listening to themselves because they're going to do whatever they're going to do anyway.
That's
So
the biggest thing
Mhm.
is getting is having them say it for themselves, even though you're not like manipulating them, but you're guiding them to the answer that they're looking for,
Mhm.
and them saying it, they almost will never go back on their word or whatever their thought process is at that point.
It's
you
like
know.
self-affirmation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they say, when you listen, they're going to tell you the answer. They're going to tell you what they want, you know?
I mean, that's what a therapist does. But the therapist doesn't tell
Pay us,
you what to
guys.
do.
Yeah,
Yes.
They
seriously.
just
Well, we are. Is that what we do? Aren't we therapists, friends, counselors, negotiators? We do
Yeah.
it all, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that's very helpful. So the nonprofit. Sorry, I kind of caught you saying your mom has a nonprofit where she does teach these workshops
she has
about communications and stuff.
she's done a few different workshops. So like goal setting workshops, like
Awesome.
effective communication workshops. So she's done them for like the school district of Moreno Valley, right? Through like the PTA and for parents to be able to communicate with their kids, so that they can have open dialogue and things like that.
Nice.
So in order to effectively communicate, you have to learn how to listen.
Right.
And there are, I think it's like 8 or 9 ineffective ways of communicating. And one of them is comparing, right? You might be telling me your story about what happened to you, and then I want to contribute, so I'm going to compare. Or, well, when I did this, or what you should do. So there's 8 or 9 ways of miscommunicating. So you have to be able to understand what those are. And we all do them throughout different times.
So the one upper is not the way to go.
Correct, yeah. And that's one of them as well, yeah.
Dang it.
So that can help, again, establish communication, either interpersonal relationships, business relationships. So she's been able to, again, have different types of workshops to help people understand what those things may be, and how they can do things a little bit differently.
That's awesome, and just at anything, you move through life with effective communication, sales being that too. Like you said, you listen, you communicate it back, they'll tell you the answer of what you're asking for and you move on, so forth and so on. So, no, that's pretty neat. I really am interested in that, the 9 different ways of communication. That's interesting.
Ineffective ways
Or
of
ineffective,
communicate.
okay,
Yeah.
And what
So
not to do.
What
What
not
not
to
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom's a very smart
We need
lady.
to bring her on.
Should.
Yeah.
So I
should.
Definitely would love to.
I had, and they'll be coming out soon. My mom loves these kinds of things to be able to like help people when it comes to personal development, right? So effective communication, goal setting workshops, and she loves to cook. So I thought, I was like, well, let's combine those two. So show me how to make pupusas, but also show me or a tip on like how to obtain my goals. So it's like, okay, first you got to be able to identify a goal. And then what are all the different steps and methods to be able to do that? So trying to combine those two things. But being able, the videos that I'm working on right now, it's just like people need to understand who you are and how all these things came about. So George is right, but a little bit incorrect because my mom's been doing sales since she was a kid, right? In El Salvador, right? Selling things like, oh, there's a lady over there who sells yarn, so I'm going to go buy it, and then I'm going to sell it to someone else. She had a restaurant. She had a salon. So she's always been an entrepreneur. My mom's never, that's not true. My mom had let me see what it's like to punch a clock and then work like a holiday season or something like that.
At
But my mom's,
Macy's, I think it was. Right?
my mom's put food or helped put food on the table through entrepreneurship her entire life, right? So how did you get to where you are now, to being like a senior director for Mary Kay and being able to show not just women in the sense of how difficult it was, let's say in the 90s, for a woman who came from El Salvador, who doesn't speak the language, who doesn't know anybody, who doesn't drive, who has 3 fucking kids. And then your husband, again, is working, breaking his back, doing what he needs to do. And then how do you make that family survive? And then she told me she would go to drop me off from like preschool. And she's like, I was so shy that I would just hold the book like this, hoping somebody would be like, oh, is that Mary Kay? And she was just like, and I thought this was fucking golden. And then I remember she said one of the sales that she did, because Mary Kay works on, or used to work on, like, do a facial, right? Gather some people, do a facial and things like that. She was like, do you know how much I saw? I think within like her first 1 or 2, I think she said it was like $300 and like $600. And then 1992.
That's a lot of money.
For, again, my dad, who wasn't making much money, who had 3 different kids, who that helped, again, raise our family.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted people to understand where she came from and then why she wanted to do that. Because she said that she started to notice that a lot of women had, self-esteem issues, right? Because you've always told you can't, because of this, because of that, because your husband doesn't want you to do it, because you're shy, because all these different things. So how did you develop the steps that you have now? She's like, I started reading John Maxwell. And then understanding that, again, most of these issues that we have is things that we've had since childhood. So how do you combat that? How do you overcome that so that you can, again, help your family, how you can be successful, how you can have a better life for you and your family? So she's been very, very pivotal, I think, in our success as business. My mom's always said, she's like, I won't be happy until all 3 of my kids run their own business, right? She's like, I got 2 out of 3. Because she's fine with my other brother doing something else, but she knows the liberty that comes with being your own boss and what you can obtain once you yourself are prepared enough to conquer the world.
Yeah.
So she's been very pivotal, again, I think, on embarking a lot of wisdom, a lot of structure for us personally and on the business side.
That's awesome. And it's to me, it's amazing and really inspiring to hear someone like your mom and even like my family. Like my mom's Salvadoran and my sister's too. And just like how you guys came when you guys were young, my sister came when she was 10. No English, no nothing, but yet she learned English, got a full ride to UCLA, became a social worker, but she's a 9-to-5 secure kind of person. Versus my dad, who's Cuban, came on in my ed freaking boat till the day he passed away. He still didn't know how to read, write, anything in English, but he hustled and made his money still, and you would never know. So it's really inspiring when I hear immigrants, especially, or even like yourselves, you came really young age, you learned the language, and you overcame all the objections, and your mom now learning to effectively help others grow and communicate that to better themselves. That's super inspiring to hear.
It's cool to see people succeed, man.
It is amazing.
My mom has always, on the entrepreneurship side, it's just that. I would get upset when I was younger, like let's say some of the charity work that we do. And I'm like, dude, this person's like a millionaire. They're not donating shit. And she's like, people donate because they want to, not because they can. People will always find a way to help you. And you have to understand that about people. They can help you with their time or they can donate money. And little things like that, little things that she's always just giving me nuggets of, she to this day, she doesn't bring it up that often, but she's like, do you know how long I supported you till you got your first paycheck being a loan officer? She was like, it was 8 months before you got paid.
You get rich really quick like everyone else?
And she's like, I had to buy you your clothes and you wanted a cell phone. And I'm like, okay, my son's going to figure it out. My son's going to figure it out. I was in high school, and because of her, it's always that think outside the box. Where's the solution? Think outside the box. You can figure it out. My dad, again, gave me all the structure. Like, you need both sides, right? Like, I think that you have to have the 9-to-5 mentality. You have to have structure. You have to have guidelines. You have to have all these things that help you as an entrepreneur. But you also have to have that go-getter mentality, which is what my mom has. Like, figure it the fuck out. And, your father, obviously, like, for example, it's like being an entrepreneur and always just kind of being out there. that's such a risk. It's such a risk, and it's commendable. I love seeing people succeed, dude. I love it. Strangers, and our parents brought us that way to admire others, and when someone's doing something, like help uplift them. Like if that's why we were talking about the podcast earlier.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys need help with, like count on us.
It's funny that you say that because I literally just last week started listening to a book that somebody's been telling me to read for a long time, and this person's very successful, and
What book is it?
I know. I was gonna ask, what book is it?
and
He's like the Jungle Book.
it's Curious George. No, no, and it's Who Not How.
Who not
Mm.
how?
Who Not How, and it's like I'm a couple chapters in, and I'm just having this like massive epiphany, like to your point, figure it out. But if you instead of taking so much time to figure it out, who do you know that knows what you're trying to do that can help you just go right past
Close
that?
the gap.
Yeah, just close that gap. And like I've been guilty of trying to do things on my own. Like I'm just my little freaking mode grinding away, like just chugging and like just feel like I'm just scraping sometimes. And you know, you're not going as fast as you want to go. And then so I'm reading this thing and I'm just like, holy crap, like my eyes are just opening up to that whole
Dude,
process. Cause I try to I figure everything out. Like this setting this shit up, I didn't know. I'm not freaking never touched this stuff, but I'm gonna figure it out. You know, so I was on YouTube doing all this stuff. You know, whatever it is that I'm trying to do, CRMs, I'm gonna figure it out instead of just who can do this for me.
see, but to your point, really quick, all the, let's say, video stuff, right? I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends in so many different areas, whether it's like the music industry, the film industry, or real estate. Like I can call on all my friends to help me out with something. But the one thing is, I need to make sure I respect my friend's time,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
right? And so, what do I need to do on my own first? Like, what do I need to Google, YouTube, University? We were talking about with the kids, Young Prophets. Shout out to them. YouTube University. And then I got to a certain point where it's like, okay, I need some help now. Here are the key points. And I call on my friends all the time. And I have no problem calling on them because it's never bullshit. And I always give value back.
That's the key.
Right.
It's giving value both ways, right? It's not.
Mhm.
It can't be just a one-way street.
Mhm.
And also, you already said it. Like you've gone down a certain amount of due diligence. You know what the answer is that you need, or whatever that thing is that you need, and you're not just wasting their time. Like, hey, I just had this thought. Like, how could you help me? Like
You-
you.
So many people have called me and asked me about the podcast. And then they'll ask, like, what mics, what camera, what this, what that. And it's like, here's everything.
Right.
You know how many people have actually started a podcast or started the shit that I actually tell them to do?
Yeah.
And to me, I think about it, I'm like, that's a waste of my time because you just took a lot of time out of me rather than, hey, George, look, I did all this research. What do you think about this? Like, this is everything that I have on my list. What do you think? And then I can give a quick opinion because I know that they've done some work.
Right.
So, yeah.
I feel you. I totally feel you. And like you're able to put your ego aside and ask for the help too. I think that's a big thing, especially in sales, I would say, is being afraid to ask for that help to put you on the next level. Because a lot of, and I'm tying this back into work, I've seen it. We get in our egos where we're like, well, if I give them the answer, they're gonna do better than me, which I hate personally because I'm all about sharing is how you grow. I'm gonna learn something from you. You're gonna learn something from me. And like you said, respect each other's time, which is really, really important, especially in today's day and age. And just put your freaking ego aside, and it's okay. It's okay to root on people. It's okay to cheer people on. I love it. I'm a big advocate. I'm a big supporter. I'm Team Esther for everybody. I freaking love it. I've been following you guys forever, aside from being friends, but I follow your success, and I fucking love it. There's nothing more to me, and I say this on recruiting side because I do a lot of recruiting too, is your success is my success. You being successful as a realtor, whatever that is, and me watching and being able to be just a little part of that is all I freaking need. That is my success right there. I don't need the shout out or anything. Just watching you do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's everything to me.
There's a quote that I had on my business cards, and I talk about it, and I always butcher it, but it's a Zig Ziglar quote, right? The more people you can help achieve their goals, the closer you get to yours. And
100%.
Yep.
it's just I don't. And again, I just go back to our parents. That's my dad. right? That's my mom in us. Like, help. My dad, told me a story recently. It's like, yeah, I was driving, and I mean, my dad will pull over and he'll give someone like the shoes he has on. He'll have like a blanket in his car and he'll give it to someone. He does that. Um, and my dad will say like, I didn't have money, but like I asked the person like, hey, do you want some food? Like I have a card, like I can go buy you some food. So it doesn't have to be business, but can you help another human being? And it doesn't matter whether they're more successful than me or not. Like it, I love seeing others succeed. Those dang shows where people sing and they hit the buzzer,
Voice.
Oh,
the voice or
I'm
whatever.
addicted to The Voice.
Are you?
'Cause only the first half, because they give the story, where they come from, and then they're out there shooting their shot, and then they've got to make a break, and like you see them get turns, and they get on the thing, and they're exciting. Like it's
It's super
I love
dope.
It. I love
It's
it.
super dope to see someone who's tried so hard. Right? It's that iceberg, a lot of the iceberg that I've talked about so many times. Like people don't see the
Yeah.
hours, like the years of dedication, hard work. And so anybody that calls on us, we're doing an entrepreneurship program. We do an entrepreneurship program for Chaffey High School where kids come on and we're the sharks. There's a bunch of different entrepreneurs in the area and they pitch to
That's
us.
sweet.
So they're having their 10-year anniversary, and the teacher reached out and said, "Hey, can you guys get us a videographer?" And so I was able to get Angel from Kickback Crew. So Kickback Crew, they have their own podcast. They're on Instagram. They said, Dude, you guys do so much shit for charity. If it's for charity and it's for children, count us in." So I have connects all over the freaking place, like we do, because in life, again, I think people have recognized that we're not taking, we're always giving. And so people want to contribute back. And so on the business side, on the personal side, on the stranger side, whatever we can do to help someone, it's not taken away from me. And it's just it sounds corny as hell, but giving like fulfills us.
Dude,
Like
it's-
it fulfills
It's
me.
not corny, and I'm 100% with you.
It's our purpose. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, but like, when you're in that giving moment and you're giving to other people, that's how I've found that you feel the most fulfilled. Like that's your purpose on this planet. What else would you be doing here other than self-serving your own self, right? So when you're able to be in that mode of giving and helping somebody else have a better life, have some shoes, have a blanket, stay warm, like whatever it is, entrepreneur, how are you going to, change your life? It's the most gratifying feeling that you can have.
And we're in that field naturally. Think about that. Like credit repair, you're helping someone build their credit so they can get their dream home, get a loan, and then I, as an agent, help. You know what I mean? Like we're in the field of service naturally.
Mhm.
So I mean, that's already been instilled in you since day one, or in us. So that's very, very rewarding at the end of the day. Is just to see someone smile, like, damn, you helped me get to this point, or to do this, whatever that is. And it could totally outside of our careers, but that's freaking amazing.
It feels good,
It
man.
does. But I want to change it up a little bit.
Yep.
Go on the little lighter side because we've been over here,
A little deep.
we've been very deep, guys. We go slaying, just saying. I want to play a little game. Julie and I want to play a little game with you guys.
We're ready.
So we gave you notepads and markers. We want to see how well you guys know each other.
Okay.
So I have some questions.
Diego's wrong. I'm right.
All right. So we're going to start with, I'm going to ask the question first to George. How well do you know your brother Diego? You both are going to write it down on the count of 3 and hold it up
Okay.
so we can let the audience here see. So let's start with question number 1. Are you ready with your pen and paper?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right.
Turn your thing over there so I
Yeah.
don't see it.
You guys can't see each other. So first question is going to be, George, we'll start easy. When is Diego's birthday?
Oh gosh.
We'll start easy.
Do I have to put it
Yes,
down?
we'll start easy. And you'd be surprised. I've asked some siblings these questions and they don't know.
No, but then people are gonna be like, "You're this."
You don't have to put the year.
All right. Do I put it? Yeah, I put the
All
year
right.
1972.
Tell him.
Uh-huh.
1,
put
2,
it
3.
to
Let's see. You guys got it right? Got it right? Yes, May
Yeah,
13th.
put it up.
I don't know if you can see it there, but I'll say it out. All
Yep.
right, we'll start easy.
Oh, that's
Question number 2. You can go ahead and rip that off. George, what shoe size is Diego?
Oh god. This depends on the damn shoe, but I
Dang,
will
what
go
shoe
with
Got 11, 11 and a half. Close
Depends on the
enough.
shoe.
Depends on the shoe. Okay.
Alright.
I'd say that's a win.
A win.
all right.
Yeah, I'd say that's a
Alright.
win.
Depends on the shoe, yeah. So there
Yeah.
you go.
George, what is Diego's dream car? Do you have a dream car? Oh, you don't?
No.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm not into cars like
All
that.
right. Well, I don't know. I just figured guys.
Yeah, see,
Trying
there
to
you go.
get-
None.
Yeah.
None.
You got none.
There you go. You
That's-
got it right.
yeah,
Good
yeah,
job.
That's right.
All right.
We both were like,
Who do? Can I ask this question? Do you have a dream celebrity crush, or a celebrity crush? Do you have a celebrity crush?
No.
Dang,
No.
guys, help me. I should have asked this
you
question.
would have known that too, though.
I would have
I
known.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
So that's four.
All
Four
right.
for
Who's
four.
the favorite brother?
that's me.
That's Diego.
There's no question about it.
Seriously.
I know your mom loves you. Your dad loves you. He didn't go to any of, any
People-
of the other brother sports.
No, I mean, people say that all the time. It's like, oh, you're your parents' favorite, huh? It's like, oh, because you're the youngest. No, it's because I'm fucking dope.
All right. Last question then. Since
All right, let's
you
see.
guys don't have
So
a dream
5 of
car.
5.
5 of 5. Okay. Have you ever got a speeding ticket? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How many speeding tickets has your brother got? Do you know?
I would say 2 or 3, maybe.
You have to pick one.
Damn.
Okay,
Yeah.
2?
I wouldn't even know. It'd be like 2 or 3.
I feel like my
Oh.
questions
Yeah.
are horrible here. I feel like I'm gonna ask the same questions, and you guys have the same answer. You guys know each other very well, but let's
I'm
just
with you,
start
dude.
reverse. Then.
All right, let's go.
All right. I'm not gonna ask the birthday, but I'm gonna ask the birthday. When is your brother's birthday?
May 30th, 84.
Good job.
There you go.
Okay. What's his shoe size?
Same as mine.
You guys
Yeah.
are same. You guys
Same
same
shoe
height?
size.
That's how he
Yes.
knows because he's
Yeah.
probably borrowed each other's shoes.
I
Yes.
know.
All our
Well, he
lives.
did
Look,
say, you know,
he's
he
wearing
did
my
say
he's wearing my
earlier-
docs.
Mine is
What?
boots. Yeah.
Dang, and Miguel will not even fit into any of your guys' closet talk.
I mean, or
Shoe
he
size?
definitely will try to put on my shirt.
I mean,
Or he
I've
used
seen
to.
I've seen his WWE outfit,
Oh,
yeah.
so I
Yeah.
mean,
We've all
we've seen
always,
the Spanx. We've seen the Spanx.
When I go buy clothes, I don't put it on because if it's too small, I'll give it to him. If it's too big, I give it to Miguel. We wear the same
Dang.
size shoe.
So I'm gonna ask the same question. You don't have a celebrity crush either?
No.
Cars and nothing? I mean, I know you're into music. What is his favorite song?
His favorite song? I don't even think he knows what that is.
How about a favorite band?
Smiths, probably.
Well, we already know.
Yeah. The Smiths, Morrissey.
Yes, Morrissey.
100%.
Southpaw. Dang.
Yeah, we
Damn,
know
these
each other pretty
questions.
well.
I know. I
Yeah.
love that.
I think it's like a lot of times people will ask, like, "Damn, like you, like, do you and your brother ever fight, right? Or do you guys like ever argue?" And it's just like,
Mhm.
no. We used to live together.
Mhm.
Our office is in the same building.
Love that.
We still hang out. Like we don't have. And again, we know each other very, very well. And this is one of the things that I don't think even my mom understands how well I know him. Right? Because like she'll tell me and I'm like, "Meh, I'm like, I know when I need to like I'm fine, okay? Like I know when I need to approach him. Like I can walk by his office and I know how much I can fuck with him,
Yeah.
right? I could be like, all right, no. Or I can just walk by and do this.
And he
lot.
does.
Yeah.
Right? And I know how much or if he wants to talk or if he doesn't, how much to push, how much to pull. It's like we know each other very, very well.
That's awesome.
Like I think on pretty much every aspect, on our personalities, on our likes, on our moods. Like, do I need to talk? Do I need to shut up? Do I need to listen? Yeah, we know each other very, very well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know, low key, high key. I kind of want that experience. I'm a little jealous. I never had that, close sibling of age where I can, have something so in common because I'm so far apart with my siblings. It's decade, so it's a total different upbringing.
Maybe, but like my brother and I now, for the
I
last
mean, we're close.
How
as
old are you
hell,
guys?
but
8
I'm
years
saying-
apart? 10
9
years?
and a half,
9.5. Okay.
9 and a half, and now we're best
two
friends.
decades.
Like,
Yeah.
and even now it's even better because last year I moved out to like Beaumont Banning area. He's lived out there for like the last 20 years, and so now we're
Able to hang out.
hanging out all the time. He's go to my house, I go to his house, talk. Like he just texted me this morning. He's like, "What's up, stranger?" Because it's been 2 days since we talked. So. it's
But I'm
different.
saying in the sense, I'm super close to my sister, but I'm saying in the sense of like sharing the clothes,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
being able to
Oh,
hang out and do that
that part.
kind of sibling stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, because I don't do that. Like when I call my sister, and we talk every day. It's like a big sister / mom perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like for advice or hey, this is what's going on today, or I just want to call and say hi. you know, I talk to my mom every day and my sister, but I don't have someone, oh, let's share, you know, let me go to your closet and, you know, wear your shoes and your hoodies and whatnot. That's something.
This undershirt's my brother gave me,
Is
by the way.
it?
Yeah.
Chill.
Just jealous of that we
I
can
am
share
so
clothes.
jealous. But I'm blessed to have very close, you know, female friends and people I look up to that are around my age too, where I'm able, you know, to kind of collab with in that sense.
Right.
But no, I want to be able to walk in your closet and like, let me borrow that dress, you know, like that'll be kind of neat.
Dude, I've seen. So when we were younger, George and I used to look a lot alike, right? And I think people still think we look a lot alike. Not so much now, but I would see pictures and I'm like, the fuck's he wearing my shirt for?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, he's like, that's you. And I was like, oh shit.
Dang.
Right. But again, we've always interchanged shoes, clothes, and
Girls.
Dang, we're going that deep.
I think it's funny where a lot of people
Earmuffs, Mom.
will ask us again, like, did we fight a lot growing up? We didn't really. We didn't. I know brothers who are close. I've never met brothers who are as close as us.
Yeah.
Right. We never had, with me being the younger one, they're like, get out of here. Right. Like, I'm with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and maybe that wasn't such a good thing because I was doing stuff at a really young age that I shouldn't have been. But even with like Miguel, again, Miguel and I had more of a little that stereotypical like dynamic.
Right.
But it was never like, you can't come
Yeah.
or you can't hang out with me and my friends or anything like that. It was the opposite. Like, again, he would take me into that party scene that got eventually kind of dangerous. And I was like 11, 12 years old.
Look at you.
But we've always had that close of a relationship where it was, I don't think we ever had like, again, like that like tension or.
It was just me and my two brothers, man. That's all I needed. Like let's go and take care of them. You know, tell Mike go take care of Diego, or you know, if Mike got in a situation, is like a let's go, or vice versa. It was always just like
Did you ever get into fights because of your brothers?
all the time. I mean, it's the
Who's
Merlos
starter?
brothers.
Who's the starter?
This the one.
I always feel like there's always a starter, like of
Mm.
siblings, of whenever there's fights of some sort.
Nah, we just took care of
That's good.
it, you know. But it was just like the perspective of like that environment that we were in. It's like it didn't matter who else was around me, but as long as I had my brothers with me, I was good. I was safe. I was good. At the end of the night, like where my brothers at, like we're good, you know. And a lot of our friends benefited from having the three brothers together, you know, in situations. But safe, like the thing that always like in my mind, you know, back in the day and even now, it's just I'm around my brothers and I know that if I ever fall, it's like my brothers are there to pick me up. Whether it's, you know, like a fight, finances, life itself, my brothers are always there to pick me up. My brothers always have my back. And we have each other's back. They're my best friends. And yeah, dude, we know each other very, very well. We spend a lot of time with each other.
You guys are like the Tate brothers.
Oh, dang. I didn't even think about
Hold
it.
on.
Let's advertise you guys.
there-
You got
there
the
you
go. Yeah, there you
ball
go.
going on.
Tape brothers.
One with hair, one without. Exactly.
Yeah.
We start doing hashtags.
Yeah.
It's funny because through the bickering of Miguel and I, that is what was driven into us. Because to us it was normal. Again, and I remember telling my mom and dad, it's just like, we're brothers, we're gonna fucking fight. And my mom, I remember, would always say, it's just like, no. Like we didn't grow, like her and my aunt and my uncle didn't grow up fighting amongst each other apparently, which I think is fucking weird. But it's just like, we're brothers, we're gonna have like, you know, like playful arguments, or again, it's gonna escalate. But that's one of the things that my parents always drove into us. It's like, you guys are supposed to protect each other and not fight each other. And like, so my dad, again, that's why he took it so serious as like a young kid, or when we were young kids, that they didn't want us to fight. They didn't want to, it was, I remember one time, I don't know, they got home and we got in trouble or something. And I was like, well, this motherfucker did that. So I tried to like take the blame off me and put it on them. And then my mom got mad at me. And then she was just like, you don't do that. Like, you protect your brothers. Like, you don't throw your brother under the bus. You don't do this. You don't do that. Like, you guys are always supposed to defend and protect each other, like, no matter what. So I got in trouble for, again, trying to throw my brother under the bus.
Yeah.
And
And then
that's-
in public too. It's like in public, you know, you have what is it? An agreement you correct each other in private.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
humiliate, you respect each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah. Again, that's a top behavior from your parents and carry on and so forth. And, it's, again, I grew up the same way. You have an issue, pull it aside. Don't call them out like that.
So last question.
yes, sir.
That tattoo on your knee, is
Yes,
that
sir.
because of Rocky?
100%.
All right.
You
Okay,
can see what it is,
Can you
right?
tell people what it is?
Yeah, it's
Because let me
it's.
see.
Let me see. Can you see it?
Can you see Liberty? It's a tiger, guys.
Hard to see.
Yeah, it's
hard
a
to see.
tiger.
It's a tiger.
Yeah.
It's a dope tiger, by the way.
Yeah.
I
So
like
it's all my knee down from my thigh down is it's all Rocky. So Eye of the Tiger. There's a portrait of Rocky when he was a loan shark collector, right? From Rocky 1.
He has
It's-
a jacket.
Yeah, like when he has a little cross and he has a little hat.
Okay, I know which one.
Him and Adrian, walking together after he lost his fight.
He shows her the tigers.
Yeah, him and Adrian. There's Rocky winning from Rocky 2. There's Rocky on the steps. So like this whole bottom piece is dedicated to Rocky. Like I said, it's
Did you
It's
watch
award-winning.
that? Did you watch that documentary on Sylvester
oh yeah.
recently? That
Yeah.
was pretty good. Yeah, I
saw
didn't know a
that
lot
one.
of that stuff about him. It was really good.
I just I met a boxer. So this guy, I want to say he was 47, and he just started boxing. But he also grew up with Rocky. I met him in Vegas, right? So now he's a boxer. He's number one in his category, and a lot of people that know how my leg looks, they're like, "Yo, take off your pants. Are you wearing
I was like, you don't
underwear?"
wear shorts, so.
Yeah, I don't like wearing shorts. So like, are you wearing underwear? I'm like, yeah, take off your pants.
Short shorts.
So it's I've gotten at the LA Tattoo Convention last year. I got 3
I
awards.
Saw that. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I have a lot of
I did see that.
So Mario Daggett's my tattoo artist, his tattoo artist, and we picked up several awards because it's people see it and they're like, dude, it looks like a painting. Like it's so crisp and clear. But all this is Rocky, and then I have Elvis, Cantinflas, Johnny Cash. I got a lot of pieces on here. I mean, a lot of pieces everywhere, but music and Rocky's obviously really, really important to me.
Do you guys have sibling tattoos or anything like that?
I mean, he got the tiger after I already had a tiger. So it's like,
So wait, he copied you? Is that what
no,
you're trying to say?
no. I'm just saying we both have a tiger.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing that we would share. Oh, that's not true. He also copied me in putting my parents' signatures.
No,
No,
No.
I got the.
Say
I
so?
think I got the signatures first. I'm
I
pretty
guarantee you did not. He also got a Popeye tattoo that I literally was going to get.
sure. I have my
so-
full blast of.
Wait, was it like
Popeye
one of
here.
those you showed it to him and then he went and got it?
Yeah.
Lies?
So
That
he
was a
did.
good idea.
So the signatures I had put it. So I wouldn't say necessarily we have
We don't have
brother
matching tattoos.
Yeah, we don't have brother tattoos.
Right.
Like, hey, let's get this. But we have. He has a tiger. I have a tiger. We have my parents' signatures, and then that's pretty much it.
The sparrow or the crows,
The sparrows?
I have ravens.
ravens. Yeah, I have a raven up here.
That's
Yeah.
so Raven.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
There you go.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
Dang.
but no, we don't have any matching or family.
Do you have any tattoos?
I do. I have two.
Yeah. What do you have?
I have on my leg. On my leg, I have my Virgo signs, and then my recent one is of my dad. It's a thumbprint, and then it
Oh,
says "Esta noche
dude.
bailamos." Those were the last
Mm.
words that I said to him before he passed,
I like
which was his
that.
last breath. Yeah. So that was it. So it's thumbprint. It's pretty dope. I had to enlarge it so
Yeah,
it didn't
yeah.
look like a small little, but it's
Right.
literally his hand going like this to me.
Ah.
And I did it specifically on the left vein because the vein of life. So it was pretty. It's pretty dope. It was pretty.
I
neat.
like that.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And it's crazy story behind this. When he had passed, I remember they're like, "Oh, do you want a lock of hair or anything like that?" And I was like, "No, no, no." And the lady literally is like, "I know you didn't want anything, but I saved some fingerprints for your dad just in case."
Yeah.
And I didn't open it till his 1 year anniversary. So last year was his 1 year, and I went on the day and got it done. But the same guy who did my leg. And funny story about this one, because Mike Barrios lost the bet, and I made money off my first tattoo with him.
What's the bet?
The
Can you say-
bet. So it's just my Virgo signs. I'll show it to you guys. It's kind of
Yeah.
covered up right now. But Sunday fun day. It was football Sunday fun day. We were at Fridays, one of those days, and we had met these two like cholo looking dudes, but you know, like total cool guys. Didn't drink, did nothing. They were just out there, just having dinner. Literally, we're on a good one after bar hopping, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a tattoo artist." The guy was telling us, and I'm like, "Oh, I want a tattoo, but I'm chicken. About to be 30 on my 30th birthday. I want my first tattoo."
You're telling them that?
I'm telling Mike and like everyone we're with at the table with these tattoo artists that we just met. Because I was like, you're complimenting them.
Right.
And Mike's like, "You're never going to get a tattoo." And I'm like, "Want to bet? Want to bet?" He's like, "Bet." Shook on it. For my 30th birthday, $200. No, $300. Shook on it. Totally forgot. We had exchanged numbers. A year goes by. Now my 30th birthday is coming up. I get a call from the guy, the artist.
Oh, wow.
He's like, "Hey, are you still going to come in? I have an appointment here for your 30th birthday." I was like, "Oh shit, okay." Went. We're at his shop, and he's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "All right, something simple. Okay, my Virgo sign's meaningful. First tattoo. Da da da." Totally walked me through it. Didn't feel a thing. And then he's like, "Hey, whatever happened to that bet? What was that guy's name?" He's like, "Barrios or Barrios," and I'm like, "Oh my god, this guy has such a memory." Called up Mike. I was like, "Hey, remember that bet you made?" And he's like, "Fuck." Sure enough, he shot me $300. My tattoo was $100. I came up on 2.
There you go.
So now I joke around when I see Mike. I'm like, "Hey, you want to bet? Want to bet? Want to bet?" And he's
He
like,
always
"Nah."
wins bets too,
Not
so
with
that's
me.
that's
So
a good
that was
one.
rare, and it was all because of that. My tattoo guy. He remembered. So then, now fast forward 5 years later, my dad passed away, and I was like, "Oh my god, I want to go back to this guy," because he specializes in portraits. That's like his thing, and he kind of did this one as a little favor, and he totally remembered me, totally remembered the story. So it was really, really, really neat.
He did that one
Like,
too?
Yes, he did this one too.
Where's the shop at?
It's in Rialto.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget the name escapes me right now, but it's a really cool little hole in the wall spot. And he kind of does it more as a hobby now, but just the fact that you remember your clients, you remember like stories, and he made me some money with Mike. So now I'm like, "Come on, Mike, let's bet."
Any tattoos for you? None?
No.
Nope.
Oh,
None.
my little Christian boy.
Yeah, don't make. He needs to make a bet with Mike.
I know.
Right.
I'm gonna introduce you to Mike so you can make those bets. But anyways, we loved having you guys on the podcast. Where can we find you, Diego, on social media?
My IG is Diego Merlos, but the I is a 1. And Southpaw Boy, or what is it, Southpaw Bill on Instagram? Is it Southpaw Bill?
Mm-hmm.
Southpaw Bill, MBM Credit Solutions. On YouTube, it's Southpaw Boys. And that's it. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah. So mine is George Merlos or Jorge Merlos on Instagram. Yeah, and same thing, Southpaw Boys on YouTube, and Southpaw Bill on Instagram, and Southpaw Boys on TikTok.
And on
Oh, yeah.
TikTok, are you on for hire for the quinceañeras too? Because we all know
Man,
you
all
love
the
to dance.
tias, let's go.
All the
Just give me some,
abuelas, all
just
the
give me some
tias, all
tacos,
the
and I'm
moms.
there. Yeah, it's social media at the end of the day, man, it's a great creative outlet for me. That's the way I see it.
I love it.
And so anybody that wants to collab, DM us, and we're down for it. We're always down for it.
And Julian,
Cool.
we can always find you on social media
Yeah,
too.
don't worry about me. I'm right here. Mainpod.
We loved having you guys on the podcast. I would definitely love to collab with your mom too and have her on here because that's just amazing that she helps other.
I'll show you the video.
Oh, definitely love to see it.
That kind of like talks about why she does what she does. And after asking her so many times, she was, I wouldn't say upset, but you could hear the passion in her voice
Yeah.
of explaining why she wanted to help people.
Love that.
And how she could do that. So I'll show you the video here.
Yeah,
when
we're
we're
definitely
done.
going to have her on
Yeah.
here. And I am going to put a request for some pupusas when she comes, though.
Absolutely.
I do see your videos and I see her cooking, so I'm like, makes me hungry every time.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us on the Mainpod.
Thank
Please
you
stay
guys. Thank you for
tuned
having us.
Thank
And
you for having
come.
us.
I would love to have you guys. We would love to have you back on for sure, definitely.
Absolutely.
The next time we want to see some dancing skills and whatnot too, guys.
Yeah, with this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
his
let's
mom
do
made him
this.
dance, so
Exactly.
we're gonna
Yeah.
make
Maybe
him
show the
uncomfortable.
wing inside over here.
Yeah.
Maybe bring your tattoo guy.
Yeah. Maybe.
Anyways, yeah, hit us up on the Mainpod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mainpod, next week, Thursday, 2 o'clock. So bye.
Bye.